James Melendez. Thank you for joining me today. My topical matter is process over personality, enabling a process culture for long-term viability. I've been trying to get to the subject matter for quite some time. Stay tuned to give my thoughts and perspectives on this very fascinating topic. Stay tuned. We have been working on a change in organizations for quite some time. That is the work from home model, the hybrid or in-person model. But yet this has been happening for quite some time. So it's prior to the pandemic, and the pandemic sped this up. One thing that has not changed is how we do our work. And how we do our work is maybe selecting tools, making decisions, selecting systems, and so forth. And this is something that's been done in terms of, say, personality over process. And that's a really bad thing for an organization. A specific example is a software was implemented in an organization that I was working at. I asked a question why it was selected. And ultimately the answer was it came down to a certain person liked the software versus was it fit for purpose and fit for growth. The answer was no. That's a very unfortunate answer to get, but this is what happens quite often today. And process over personality doesn't mean a cold and robotic organization or environment. In fact, it means the opposite. It really means making sure that there's a lot more considerations taking place, better decisions are being made. When a software or a tool or decision is made, it is vetted between those people, those stakeholders that are really going to be affected by that and who have expertise, by the way, and should be making that decision, being part of that decision. That's how we recognize process over personality. Most organizations look like this today, this very messy, jumbled mess of wires, which is chaos. 90 to 95%, in my opinion, are in this state. That is for-profit, non-profit, and governmental are mired in chaos, complexity, ambiguity, poor execution, and so forth. So I've worked at a company that's a startup as well as a very established company of 100 plus years. And so one thing that there is a absolute difference in, say, the startup does not use the model of business process management, doesn't even know that it exists. And when I worked at the 100 plus year old company, there was a big emphasis in business process management, and there was always process over personality. So what do organizations come out with in terms of the net of their business? Perhaps it's poor execution, lack of customer following or loyalty, low quality products and services, and perhaps don't understand the current state, and worse, don't understand their own set of problems. And they don't have a way to get to a future state without understanding where they are today. This is definitely representative of many organizations today. I've been in organizations where someone made a decision that they weren't really the right person to make the decision, but somehow that organization followed through and accepted that particular person's decision. It was a bad thing because you didn't understand why that person had any authority to make the decisions that they made. And it actually didn't clarify how decisions are made in that organization. Excellence and profitability is by intention. It does not happen by accident or by one good product or service. And it's not only by one person solely. It is done by a team of people. It's done by individual contributors in addition to that of a leadership team or management team. So all this can come together where an organization can work together, and many people are needed to make this happen. Without a business process management plan, you definitely have issues, and I'd hate to be one of these organizations, say working for NASA. The lack of processes costs $193 million in the loss of the Mars Climate Orbiter as it disintegrated in the Martian atmosphere. So there was a Microsoft Azure problem, which cost 4.46 billion hours of collective downtime. So only 4% of organizations track and manage documented processes, and 96% do not. That is a pretty crazy number when you think about it. So again, profitability, efficiency, customer loyalty is not by accident. It is by a plan. It is by intention. And so next we're going to go to the benefits of a business process management plan. So I'll talk about very overarching items here that I think are very impressive, and then I'll get to another slide that'll talk about very specific items there. Now, the benefits are implementing a BPM, business process management plan, boosts the success rate of your projects by 70%. BPM initiatives have a 30 to 50% productivity gain compared to 25% for IT and ERP projects. 81% of organizations with BPM initiatives see an internal rate of return of higher than 15%. productivity increased by 50%, and quality is also improved by 80%. Very large double-digit numbers, very impressive numbers. And again, this is something that's done on intention. Then the customer at the center. I think this particular graph here is really essential to talk about. Our center point is our customer. Yes, our product and services is essential because our customers wouldn't be engaging with us if we didn't have a product or service to sell. But we have to look at this in terms of excellence. We have to look at this in terms of experience. How's a customer experience our product or brand? Their satisfaction with what they're getting and paying for our brand. Also, the retention. Are they coming back and are they increasing and buying more of our product? Are they loyal? Is that particular customer net promoting that brand to other organizations and other team members? For specific pillars, that is all teams, IT, executive team, and HR. I think these are each important. I'll talk about these specifically, but they also rally around the process, the project, the requirements, and the alignment that's needed. So personality over process culture tends not to follow profitability trajectories. Not efficient, not accurate, and foster a culture of ambiguity. Have less than satisfactory engagement scores. Are not adaptable to making needed changes to meet challenges. Senior leaders are unaware and are not connected to individual contributor knowledge of problems and solutions. Now, HR is something that I'm going to talk about because this is something where HR, doesn't have a great reputation. And yes, I know many HR professionals, they would agree with some of this, or perhaps some of them would not. But 40% of American employees reported that their supervisor had favorites. 21% of those respondents admitted their supervisor treated them better than their peers at work. And another survey showed that 80% of employees don't trust HR. So HR, in alignment with its people managers, can also do things that are really unsavory, such as unfair promotion. Favorites received extra attention and have fewer expectation. Unfair pay raises and bonuses. Non-favorites are more likely to be reprimanded, and those that are promoted who will benefit the manager. So there's a lot of things that occur here. I bring this up specifically because this is known in that community of workers or employees and contributors, and that's something that is really much a pain point. So this is a huge problem that HR needs to address at some point in the future in order to have legitimacy. I noted that one organization that I was a chief of staff had a very high rate of partially meets expectation of about 35%. That number is very, very high. If that organization had that true number, that would actually account for things such as, say, maybe health authority citations, or there would be other consequences for that organization not operating properly. It would be noted. It would be something that would be a significant problem for that team to operate. So I did ask the HR business partner why she didn't probe and ask or even object to some of those ratings. I definitely objected, but I did probe the HR person for more information on how or why they didn't ask more questions or even object to some of the comments that were made. So personality over process cultures make poor IT decisions, and this is something that's very impactful. IT does impact because a lot of people in an organization use software, and in the tech stack, that is something where it is impactful. It is something that is, warranted in terms of, say, this particular pillar, the 4 pillars, because, say, selecting the system that is not needed, cannot complete current or future requirements, is too expensive to operate, too difficult to operate, and doesn't allow for scalability. So there's a lot of things that can occur in that particular bucket. So once a life cycle is reached, cheaper is not always cheaper because they have to migrate that data from one system to another. Decisions are not made by a committee, and critical thinking is not allowed. Specifically, why a particular software was selected, and it came down to a person. One person made a decision, and that was because of their preference. Imagine 20% of software is unused in an organization. That is a huge number, and that's very unfortunate. And when I think of numbers like that, that really means either too many systems, not the right systems, and 1/3 of your tech stack could actually be reduced. And perhaps those resources could be utilized in other areas. So Nike software issue cost the company $400 million, and that was a $100 million loss, as well as a 20% dip in stock price. And yes, while stock prices can rebound and go upward again, that really is something you have to talk to your analyst community when you do have that dip. It's a conversation that I'd rather not have, and it's something that could be avoided. Also, Hershey software failure cost $100 million during the Halloween season. And again, that's a conversation I wouldn't want to have with senior management. So how $100 million is lost during a season is a huge number. And then second to last slide is business process management. I'm not going to read all of these. You can stop. You can take a screenshot of this. So when you look at these, you can look at some of these and say, okay, increase visibility, decrease ambiguity. And so this is a source of process, BPM. You can look at data accuracy and integrity. It could hit 2 teams or maybe more. IT and data analytics, realize cost savings, hits, say, the finance and the revenue bucket. So each of these can be particular call-outs that are really relevant to any organization who wants to make sure that they're improving, not just the reducing costs, but also being cognizant in every area for business process management to help every single functional team in an organization. The biggest compliment an organization can do is to utilize a process over personality organizational culture by leveraging business process management. I would say number one, you start off with a growth mindset. You give instruction in terms of individual contributors as well as management in terms of what a growth mindset looks like, how you apply it, how you acquire it, how you practice it. Then you create a business process plan and you implement your business process plan. Dignity and respect and emotional intelligence. These have to be taught in organizations. We like to think that our team members have a high level of dignity and respect and emotional intelligence, but sometimes those need to be, I would say, modeled and shown and taught. And so these are really great tools to bring out this. And it's also to bring down fear. It's also so that organizations are allowing things such as, say, the next topic, which is critical thinking, right? And critical thinking in, say, the pharma industry is quite allowed. It is something I think is a very healthy part of the pharma community, because without critical thinking, we would not have safe medicines and safe devices. And so that definitely exists today. Is the organizational mature and fit in order to have a process over personality culture? And so if not, how do you develop that? And then lastly, process should be second nature. It becomes part of your culture. So a process-driven culture is very important to have, and it's only done intentionally. It's not going to happen accidentally. This here is a roadmap, in my opinion, of how you can get there. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to thank you for watching my content. I wanted to see if you have any questions or comments. Please list them down below. Now, please engage me in terms of anything I can do for your organization, and to run through what a BPM could look like for your organization, and to go through this particular topical matter of process over personality. I hope your organization chooses process over personality every single time, because there will be results that are tangible, results that will help your organization to be set apart and to produce a better quality product and service, and to serve your customers with the best in class of service, best in class products. So again, reach out to me if you have any more questions. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video topic on James All About Business. Stay tuned.